one of the greatest movie villain performances ever. Okay, everybody, today we're going all the way back to 1986 to look at a semi-forgotten gem that is a masterpiece in its genre. I mean, this thing is fucking phenomenal. We are going all the way back to check out The Hitcher with Rutger Hauer and C. Thomas Howell, Jennifer Jason Leigh. Oh, this movie's great. Anyway, before we get into all that, once and again, and as always, to the trailer.
Heading west on the long, lonely highway, only his dreams for company. Until...
My mother told me never to do this.
Before many miles, he'll wish he'd taken his mom's advice. When Jim Halsey let the Hitcher into his car, he opened the doors of hell.
What do you want?
I want you to stop me.
Once you've met the Hitcher, you'll never pick up another.
My wallet's in my pocket. Shut up! We know how to do it. Jesus!
Why are you doing this to me?
You're a smart kid. I'll figure it out.
I didn't do it. I didn't do any of it. I'm not a killer. Hold on! This morning, this guy tried to kill me. And he's been following me ever since.
Why didn't he kill us?
Hi, kid. I don't want to die! Yeah!
The terror starts the moment you stop for the Hitcher.
What do you want?
I want you to stop me.
Okay, this motion picture was directed by Robert Harmon. Now, big career as a director? Not really, honestly. I mean, he directed like Nowhere to Run, and he did like all those like Jesse Stone flicks with Tom Selleck, and he did Blue Bloods for television, all that kind of crap. But where his forte really lies is being a photographer and a cinematographer, and I'm telling you, you'll see that and see it show up in this motion picture. We'll get into it later. Okay, everybody, let's get into the cast of this gem. Now, this is probably one of the smallest casts I've ever done, because really it's 3 people. I've kind of extended it to 4, but let's go. Playing John Ryder, the late, great man himself, Rutger Hauer. What more do you need to hear? Let's go. Anyway, you obviously know he was in Blade Runner, and he was in stuff like Nighthawks, and Lady Hawk, and Blind Fury, and Wanted Dead or Alive, and Split Second, and A Breed Apart, and the Osterman Weekend, and Sin City, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Omega Doom, and Hobo with a Shotgun. So, Rutger Hauer. Okay, playing Jim Halsey, a man whose career was on fire at one point. Jesus. We are talking C. Thomas Howell. Let's roll. We're talking about he was in stuff like E.T. and Tank, which is a forgotten flick. I actually went to the theaters and seen that when I was a kid. And Red Dawn, and Soul Man, and Grandview USA. And he's been on TV and ER, and 24, and Summerland. But to all of us, he will always be Ponyboy Curtis from The Outsiders. It's just the way it is, folks. It's just the way it is. Playing Nash! One of my favorite actresses on the planet. Never afraid to go out there on a limb and do something crazy, whatever. Jennifer Jason Leigh. Long career, cool career. Let's roll. We're talking about she was in stuff like Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Easy Money. And she popped up in Grandview, USA with C. Thomas Howell, as we mentioned. She was in Existenz and Miami Blues and Backdraft and The Jacket and The Hateful Eight. And she was in a movie that we will always kind of attach to her. Single white female. You can't... She's one of the best, folks. And playing Captain Esteridge. Jeffrey DeMunn. No, not a name that jumps out at you, but he's been in some shit. We're talking about he's been in things like The Green Mile, in The Mist, in The Blob, in Francis, in Citizen X, which is a great, great movie. And he was on TV and, Law and Order, The Walking Dead, ER, X-Files. So he's been around. You see his face. As soon as you see his face, you're like, oh, okay, I know. That guy, that guy. Okay, everybody, I'm going to try to do this in 90 seconds or less, as always, so we can get to the summation, and it's going to be a good one. Where we'd all rather be, where we all rather hang out, and it's really the most fun. But we're going to do this story and get right to the point. You got young Jim Halsey. He's driving a car through the desert. The car's a driveway. He's just driving it to the owner, who happens to be out in San Diego. He's falling asleep. He's tired. He's beat. He can't keep his eyes open anymore. He almost dies in a head-on collision. And then he says to himself, look, a hitchhiker. I'll pick this guy up. He'll help me stay awake. You bet your sweet ass he will. Anyway, within a few moments, we realize that this hitchhiker, whose name is John Ryder, by the way, is not a well-adjusted human being. He has this thing for cutting people up in cars that he finds, and he also has a bit of a death wish. Well, after young Halsey gets away, Ryder becomes obsessed with this is the guy. This is the guy he's going to torment until this guy kills him. Well, as this movie unfolds, young Jim Halsey, he runs into a diner where he's looking for help. That's where he meets Jennifer Jason Leigh, Nash, where he makes a phone call to the police saying there's a psychopath out there. The police, for one reason or another, take the phone call wrong and think that this kid is a murderer. Just the way it goes in these flicks, folks. Just the way it goes in these flicks. They take him, they bust him, they arrest him. But who continuously gets him out of the clutches of the police? John Ryder himself. The man with a death wish. They're not going to fuck up his plans for having this kid kill him. There's a lot going on, folks. Well, I don't want to go too much farther than that. That's a launching point. That should get you in the direction we need to go. That should kind of fill you in on what needs to take place. If I go any further, it's going to fuck up some key scenes. It's going to mess up the ending of the motion picture. I don't want to do too much of that. Go out. You have to watch it, experience it, and enjoy it. Okay, everybody, why does this motion picture work? And this motion picture works. 3 reasons, we're going to nail them all off. Number 1, this motion picture is stunningly beautiful to look at. I mean, that's where I was talking about how he used to be, the director, a still photographer and a cinematographer. It shows in this movie. You can almost take a still snapshot of any scene in this motion picture and frame it on your wall. The views of the desert, every shot, I don't care if it's just of a fueling station, is utterly fucking gorgeous. To sit there, you could just watch this motion picture. You could have been that guy who showed up late for the flick and just came in at any point and said, my God, this is, what the hell am I watching? This is just beautiful. This movie looks stunning. Number 2, the tension is palpable all the way through this motion picture. It delivers. It delivers perfectly. You're always there. You're always creeped out. You're always tense. You always got that same feeling and vibe all the way through this motion picture, from the 5-minute in mark, if that, all the way to the end. This motion picture keeps you where it wants to keep you. It does it perfectly. It delivers it perfectly. You will still be doing your little jump scares way into this motion picture. You'll still be creeped out way into this motion picture. It delivers all the way through consistently, evenly, and on point. And number 3, the acting. Specifically, one of the actors. Yes, Jennifer Jason Leigh is great in this motion picture. She's always great in motion pictures. She's one of my favorite actresses. C. Thomas Howell, he really delivers as this poor kid pushed over the brink, pushed past of what he can mentally handle by this psychopathic fucking lunatic who just keeps fucking with him really all the way through this motion picture. Jeffrey DeMunn plays it straight, plays it well, delivers as the captain. Everybody nails it. But one performance is what sets this motion picture apart from almost anything else in its genre, almost anything else at the time. And that is the performance of Rutger Hauer as John Ryder. He is 110%, without a doubt, phenomenal in this motion picture. Rutger Hauer is one of those actors that if you want to get a Oscar-worthy performance, you don't need to do any special tricks. You don't have to put him in any special scenes. All you need to do is put a fucking camera from here to here and here to here. Everything he does with his face, the looks of bemusement on his face, the little things, the way he curls a lip, the way he looks like a little child being naughty sometimes or something, you know what I mean? He puts on those little weird face. The way he delivers all that stuff with just his face sets him almost apart from 95% of the actors in the world. He doesn't need to be big and loud and project and do all kinds of stupid shit. Put the camera on the man's face, let him do his stuff. He will project more emotion, feeling, thought, undercurrent, you name it, than almost anybody else who is out there on the scene at the time, before, or after. It's a shame that he is fucking gone. Yes, there are a couple little semi-flaws in any motion picture. In this movie, well, it has a couple. I mean, let's be brutally honest. The scene where the car hits the bus in the beginning and loses its bumper, and then the bumper reappears to the entire rest of the movie. Okay, guys, I mean, somebody should have, I don't know what the hell happened there, but it's pretty goddamn obvious. Yes, you got to take a little bit of a liberty when the handgun takes down the helicopter. I mean, for the love of Christ, it doesn't really happen, folks. It's just the way it goes. But those things are relatively minor, and they don't take away from the feeling. They don't take away from the vibe. They don't take away from the suspense. They don't take away from the action, which actually does show up in this movie in several scenes. But it's not that kind of doofy action that pulls you out of it. It's so well done with a suspense underneath the action. And then it turns into these slow motion, beautiful shots of carnage and destruction, almost Peckinpah-like. It is amazing. Okay, everybody, do the best you can. Get out there and see The Hitcher. They made a remake of it a few years ago. Ignore that. Ignore that. By way of comparison, that movie is shit. All that they did was, like, swap the female and male character around, which is like the cheesiest way to try to relaunch something. I don't get it. Write a great movie for a girl. Don't fucking just sit there and just, we're going to swap it up and remake. That's the cheesiest thing to do. It really is. So when you're out there, make sure you get the original Hitcher from 1986. Beautiful to look at. Phenomenally acted. And how Rutger Hauer in his whole career doesn't have like a shelf of awards and shit like that, I don't understand. Because the character he gave you in this motion picture is unforgettable, is creepy, and is amazingly acted. Be good. Take care. Stay out of trouble. Look out for family and friends. And above all else, with no exception, never take any bullshit from anybody. See you soon.